Welcome back, Stasa23 here, back again with some knife therapy. And before I get started, if you like my videos, please give them a big thumbs up. Or if you don't, give them a big thumbs down, just so I know you're liking it or not liking it, so I know which way to go with the channel. Alright, and if you like knife content and you're not already subscribed, think about hitting that subscribe button. I promise you won't be disappointed. So let's get into it. We have for you today the HMC Knives Transient Micro. And if you're not a small knife person, then you might want to click off this video because this is a small knife. I tend to like the smaller knives, and that's what kind of attracted me, and the overall aesthetic of the knife. Not to mention Jim Vandervelde, the owner of HMC Knives. Super nice guy, and it shows when people talk about him in the community. So I figured I would help support him. This variant of the Micro Transient was a Fanatic Edge exclusive. This exact model is no longer available with the micarta show scale like this. Those were strictly from Fanatic Edge. I think he had 30 of this variation and 30 of without holes. But from the day I'm filming this video, there are some of the other variations still available. They are limited, so if you want one, check. I'm going to try to remember to leave a link to his site in the description box. If you want one, you might want to jump on it because he may do this run, and he said he might be doing another run, then he might never do it again. So the Micro Transient was produced for Jim under his supervision and his specs from Best Tech Knives. And Best Tech does a really good job of their fit and finish quality. You have 3 different options for your frame. You have either all black stonewashed PVD titanium scales, or you can get a dark bronze stonewashed PVD, or you can get a light bronze stonewashed PVD on the scales. All of them, you can get them with or without holes, and that's if it's still available on his site. All of them have black PVD titanium pocket clips, black standoffs, and black hardware and pivot screws. They're all also available with a stonewash blade if you don't like a black coated blade. And I said before, this is a smaller knife. This is like a watch pocket knife, one that you just toss in your pocket. That's what he said he made it for. Something that's slim, lightweight, and small that you can just drop in your pocket, and it's going to sit at the bottom of your pocket nicely. And I think you did a great job. But just to get an idea of how small, you have an overall length of 5.6 inches. You have a blade length of 2.5 inches, so it's going to be legal in a lot of areas, especially if you're allowed to have a locking knife. You have a grip area of, let's see, let me make sure I did that right. Yeah, I did it from the front right here, the scale, because it's flat and it's got some jimping, so you can choke up on it. So it's around 3 inches in the grip area. So I get a full 3-finger grip on it. Your close width in the pocket from here to here is 0.77 inches. You have a very slender thickness in the scales at 0.39. You have a decently thin blade stock of 0.125 or 1/8 of an inch blade stock. And this is pretty much a full flat ground blade with this swoop and plunge line right there. And the thickness that I measured on my particular variant is from, let's see, from 19 to 20 thousandths. So about like the same thickness as a Spyderco Paramilitary, just to give you a reference if you have that knife. Let's take a closer look at that. You got a beautiful, in my opinion, a beautiful drop point blade. You got that nice black PVD stone wash, like a black wash finish. You have the HMC logo. I think it's Hellion Machine Company. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. You have a perfectly executed sharpening notch. As you can see, it does clear the plunge line. The plunge line's back here. Love seeing that when they get it right. No smiles on this one. Jim made sure every detail was right. He did several prototypes and made sure they were to his specs. You got a very slight breaking of the edge bevel at the top of the spine, so it's not going to be sharp where you don't want it to be. You kind of see that reflection from where the stone wash wore off the coating. You have a, needle-like point right there for piercing. Very, very nice, because you're not going to be wanting to stab into anything and twist at all with this size knife. You have a blade hole that has been chamfered, so it's not sharp, but it's not slick either, because they just put a very tiny chamfer around there to keep it from being sharp. HMC logo, like I said. On this side, all you have is the blade steel designation, which is CPM S35VN, which is good to go. You have some nice jimping up top right there, just a small little row. And when you're holding it with that 3-finger grip behind the choil, it fits perfect in the hand. Let's close it up. You have a very discreet, pretty much like non-existent flipper tab when it's closed, because most scales go all the way out anyway, and that wouldn't even be showing. So you basically had to clip some of the scale to have a little tab. And at first when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's gonna be terrible to flip. And whenever I put it in my hand, woo, the thing fires out. He said that's one thing he wanted to dial in the action to where, people who like to fidget would love it as well, and A-okay on that one. You do have some jimping up there that is just right. As you can see, it's kind of rounded over, but it does give you just enough grip to rocket that knife out. And the way the tab is set up, how it's on that lean to where your finger just sits on top of it, I don't really have to think. I can either do a light switch and pull it back. It works just fine. And if I want to push down on that tip like a push button, you can do that as well. To me, I find it a lot easier in hand to light switch it. It just feels more natural in hand. Close it up. You have, like I said, black PVD pivot screw. This variation is the whole pattern that comes in the ones that are still available if you want the whole pattern. If not, it's just a solid scale. You have very minimal construction. Pivot screw, one body screw. And let me see, that's a T8 in the back. I'm not sure, I should have checked before. Let's make sure, let's see. Okay, that's my T8. And looks like the body screws are T6, and the pivot is a well done T8, nice and tight. You have a stainless lock bar insert, so you're not going to tie onto the steel. Hardened insert. The lockup on mine is about 50%. Definitely what I like to see. So I want to make sure that that locks seating nicely, especially on a smaller knife where I might be putting more pressure down on the spine. Absolutely no up and down. Absolutely no side to side. The only thing I can do is maybe start flexing the scale a little bit, but not really. Especially for the amount of force I'll be putting on a small knife like this. You have jimping underneath on the scale and on the blade to where you can choke up like that and get a little bit of traction. It's not aggressive to where it's going to hurt you. It's actually, almost smooth. You have a very deep choil in the scale right there. Everything's been chamfered. It's probably easier to see on this side because of my micarta. It's harder to see. But you can see you have a nice edge breaking chamfers going all the way around. And I like how he did this right here, where he did that deeper cut out on both sides, and it's like almost like an arrow to where the where the flipper tab is. 1 hourglass standoff. Flow through construction. As you can see, that blade is dead center, but if you want to look at it this way, it's so hard to show it right. The blade is dead center on the money. This side you have a 3D milled titanium pocket clip. Nice retention. Let's see what it looks like in the pocket. It's not a deep carry, but I don't really like a deep carry with a milled clip. It tends to be hard to get out of the pants. Goes in jeans very nicely, and that's what you have sticking up. Very minimal. And you got something to hold on to, that tip right there, pull it out. So enough retention to keep it in the pocket, not too much tension to not be able to get it out the pocket. So your deployment, this is riding on ceramic bearings and a ceramic detent. The detent and action are superb. Let's see, you got the flipper, excellent. You can pinch, I pinch both sides, use that blade hold to slow roll it. Or you can, let's see, put your finger in there and spidey flick it, which that's my favorite method. That's how I usually open it. I just do like that. Now you got to get used to it because it is a smaller knife, and they tend to be, feel funny in the hand when you spidey flick it like you're gonna throw it across the room. But once you get the right hand position, then it'll be, second nature to you. You can also use that blade hold to two-hand deploy it if that's your forte. The weight, I'm not going to do a weight because this one has a micarta scale, so it's probably lighter than the rest. If I had to take it, well, I know it is. It's got to be lighter than the rest because the other ones have titanium scales, so you'd have to check that out on his site. Let's see. There is no lanyard hole. I don't really see the sense for one because, you already have these holes in there. If you really want a lanyard, tie it in one of these. No, but, I'm not a lanyard guy, so that's a deal breaker for you. I'm sorry. It is tip up right hand carry only. Sorry about that, lefties. The lock bar insert is an over travel. You can see the little piece of it right there, so you can't overextend that lock bar. Super smooth action. I don't know if it's drop shut. If you let off the lock bar, of course it is. But let's see, I'm gonna do it over here. The blade's so light, I don't think it'll ever be like drop shut. This particular one is numbered 17. I don't know if the other variants, this was, like I said, an exclusive for Fanatic Edge. I don't know if those are numbered. You'd have to ask Jim. The ergos, for 3-finger grip, very nice. I actually used this knife a lot the other day. We got a lot of boxes in the mail the other day, and I was breaking them down to put them in the trash can, and I wanted to see how well this would, handle stuff like that, being that, you don't have a full grip, but being it has that deep choil and the jimping right there, it really locks in, and then I was able to get up there. I can get a 4-finger grip whenever I grab right there, and it's just fine. But most of the time, I grabbed it like this, or my favorite is pinching it like this on both sides and then put my finger right there. I use that to break into boxes and stuff too, so I can control that tip very nicely there. You do have quite a bit of belly. Almost all belly. It starts from about right there and then on up. Sorry if y'all hear my dog barking, so I'm gonna try to wrap this up. Give you an idea of the size. I'm gonna give you all some other knives for size comparison. So if you have one of these, you kind of have an idea. First is the Best Tech engine. Best Tech engine is very similar in length. The engine is a hair longer. A very good size reference in length is the TRM Nerd. These two are pretty much identical in size. Take this one away. These two are pretty darn identical in length. And let's see, two other ones what I have on my table. I have the Spyderco Dragonfly 2. Those two are pretty much the same length as well. And CRKT regular size Pilar. The Pilar is a little bit longer. And one more last one, so y'all have a really good idea. This is the Kaiser Lieb. So the Lieb is a tad bit longer. So there you go. This is the HMC Knives Transient. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. If you own the Transient, let me know what you think. And before my dog goes crazy, I'm gonna let y'all go. Hope everybody's having an absolute wonderful day, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.